Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant, and today I want to talk about the engineers and Elite Dangerous. Now, I've put off making this video for quite a while, but I'm going to be honest here. I really do have quite a problem with the recent update. I've tried to love it, I've tried to accept it, but I just can't. Now, maybe it's just me, and whilst I've played this game for countless hours for well over 2 years, I'm sure there are some people out there who will tell me that I'm quite suddenly and inexplicably playing this game all wrong as of the recent update. Heck, maybe I am the problem, but either way, it's time to lay it on the line. And now up front, I do want to say that I still love Elite. I personally feel it's one of the best game worlds ever made, and also think that from a technical point of view, Elite is pretty much a masterpiece. I know everyone at Frontier works damn hard on this game, and I for one really do appreciate that. I've been with the game for a long time, and I certainly intend to stay with it for a long time to come. That said, on to the problem. And let's face it, there is a problem. I don't think that can be denied, and the forums are awash with complaints on a daily basis. I'm not talking about those so-called whining I lost my ship threads, or salty bitter posts of complaint. No, I'm talking about something far deeper here. These are threads made by level-headed people offering up their genuine feelings, and many times accompanied by constructive criticism. And generally, I share these problems. These problems can broadly be broken down into 2 categories. 1. Locating materials, i.e. looting. 2. The engineer's crafting system. Now, together, these culminate in the ultimate problem, which is one of reward versus time investment. Now, even if you are very happy personally with these systems as they currently stand, it's actually impossible to deny that there are in fact many people out there who aren't happy at all with these systems. And I'm one of those who really isn't happy, and here is why. For me personally, the material collecting process really is the biggest problem the engineers currently has. Material collection is a very long and drawn out process, with little to no gameplay value that actually offers anything in the way of challenge or reward. Some materials can be very easy to find, whilst other materials are very hard to find. This, of course, on the surface at least, is exactly how it should be, but dig a little deeper and it's very clear that something isn't right. First, materials spawn in various grades, from grade 1 to grade 5, with grade 5 being the rarest and therefore the hardest to find. And that's fine, it's a completely recognisable system that has been in place since the dawn of gaming. This weekend I spent many hours on the surface of a planet looking for yttrium. I found 3 pieces. Now, I don't know if that is a good quantity or a bad one, but what I do know is that it felt very unrewarding. It left me with a bad taste in my mouth, as though I'd completely wasted my time. After all, it's only enough for a single roll at the engineers. Now, some people may well tell me that my approach is all wrong, and that I shouldn't be spending time looking for yttrium in the first place. Now, please don't suggest that. Don't suggest that I should wait until I come across it naturally in my regular play sessions, because really, this is a completely illogical suggestion, and it's illogical for 2 reasons. In my regular play session, I don't mine, and I don't shoot rocks on the surface of planets. And secondly, yttrium is so rare that without specifically looking for it, it is extremely unlikely that I would come across it in sufficient quantities anyway. Now, I've seen many people say that they've been struggling to find specific materials, whether it's yttrium or otherwise. And likewise though, I've seen many other people say they have had no problems at all finding these materials, and that they're able to find exactly what they want within just half hour of play. But just maybe this could be down to the nature of the RNG spawning system. After all, ask 2 people to roll a dice, and there's the chance that the first person could roll 3 6s in a row, whilst the second person could roll 10 times without getting so much as a single 6. Clearly, the method of locating materials in this game has been implemented to slow down the rate of progress, and this is completely fine. After all, nearly all games implement a gating system for upgrades, but for most games, their systems have a sensation of incremental progress even after just half hour of play. But with Elite, with the engineers, there really isn't this sense of incremental progress at all. For me, this isn't about the grind. I don't grind. I never grind. Simple. It's also not about how long it takes. Whether it takes me a week or a few months to get that grade 5 FSD upgrade, it's all the same to me. I just want to see incremental progress towards that goal after even a 30-minute play session, and the current system really is far, far from that. I will talk about a quick solution to this in just a moment, but firstly I want to go on to the second problem, which is the RNG crafting system. Random number generation is a huge part of both Elite and the Engineers, and to be honest, it does have a valid place within the game, although that is probably a topic for another time. Now, the problem with RNG as it relates to the Engineers is how it can leave the player feeling punished. Is the crafting process compelling and incrementally rewarding? If not, then there needs to be an alternative. What does it actually offer? The problem for me here is how this connects into the material collection. Material collecting is a very long process, as we've just talked about, and when I visit the Engineer after all that work, I like to feel rewarded. However, a bad RNG roll can easily throw all those hours of play right out of the window. Of course, progress within a game of this type needs to have limiting factors on it. RNG is often used as a gateway to prevent progress occurring too quickly. That is fine. However, in this case, progress is double-gated. First by the excessive times of material collection, and second by the RNG nature of the Engineer's crafting. These, for me, hand in hand, offer an extremely frustrating experience. As far as I can see, a very easy fix for this would be to make this an either-or process. Make the material collection faster so that players can do more rolls at the Engineers, for example. The gambling then becomes a fun process because the price of entry is cheaper. And even if Frontier want to then adjust the rolls so that the good ones happen far less frequently, it would still feel kind of rewarding because you get to roll the dice a little bit more frequently. The alternative to that is to keep the current rate of progress for material collecting, but make the Engineer rolls a guaranteed upgrade, or perhaps make the Engineer rolls cheaper in terms of material cost. Now, what changes like this would actually do is allow the player to feel that their time investment is valued by the game and that it actually means something. It leaves the player with the knowledge that their playtime is actually leading towards something constructive rather than a complete dead end. The double layer of walls represented by the current soul grinding material collecting, when combined with the current RNG crafting, to be perfectly frank, is a terrible design choice. It's also extremely disrespectful and inconsiderate to the player's time. The suggestions I just mentioned would be a quick and easy fix to this. It needn't have any effect on the current rate at which players are able to upgrade modules. However, it would leave players with a sense of incremental progress as well as a feeling of value and reward. There are a number of other issues I could talk about, such as the inability to test and keep various modules without relying on storing excessive numbers of ships, but most of these other problems will be sorted out with the introduction of storage, which, from what I understand, is something Frontier intend to implement during Season 2. In a nutshell then, that is my problem with the Engineers, and the bottom line is that the current system does not feel rewarding to me at all, and there's no sense of incremental progress. I mentioned two very simple solutions above. However, there is a far deeper, much more fundamental issue than I have with the Engineers. It's something I'll get into in a future video, but essentially, I feel that the Engineers offers very little in the way of compelling gameplay. There's no player agency involved, and the gameplay offers no challenge or depth. This, of course, is something that can certainly be fixed, and I suspect Frontier have big plans for this in the future. However, it's a topic I'd like to get into in the future. For now though, I'm finding it very difficult to find any motivation at all to engage with the Engineers in any way whatsoever. The Engineers has been a huge development investment for Frontier, and has been a giant waiting game for players in addition to the buying requirement of Horizons. In my opinion, the Engineers should not be seen as something we check in on from time to time. They represent a clearly definable progress path and have been marketed and developed as such. However, this seems to be at extreme odds with the implemented game mechanics, which for me are slow, unrewarding, and very frustrating. And I got to ask myself, is this really what Frontier intended?